It looks nothing like a traditional mosque, but it'll be by far the largest religious building ever planned in this country, holding a dozen times as many worshippers as Liverpool Cathedral, and it'll greet many of the visitors arriving for the Olympics in East London in 2012 as a landmark of modern Britain. It may belong to one little-known Islamic movement, but it'll be a model, the architect says, for intercommunal integration.
Hello, welcome. My name is Alan Craig. I'm a councillor in the East End of London, in the London Borough of Newham. And to be blunt, I want to demolish the arguments in favour of this mosque brick by brick. Now, Tablighi Jamaat, this group behind the Olympics mega mosque, have got they've got a track record. 25 years ago or more, they built their current European headquarters up in the Sabbletown area of Dewsbury. And since they have built their headquarters mosque, the streets around that mosque have become what we now politely call a parallel society, a Tablighi Islamic enclave. Perhaps in the old days we'd have called a ghetto, a Tablighi ghetto. But basically some 95–97% of the people that live in the streets around that mosque are Tablighi Muslims. But it's important to notice that this is not an accident. This isn't just happens that people move to be near their mosque.
So the building really starts at West Ham Station, and we're encouraging visitors to walk right past the front entrance to the mosque, leading up to also the Greenway, which takes you up to the Olympic Stadium.
So, you're specifically, or the idea is specifically to invite non-Muslims into the mosque?
Yeah, that's the key principle, and we're using the idea of dawah, which is in Islam essentially means invitation. We're using that as a metaphor for the project. We think it's particularly appropriate now, given the current political climate.
Specifically to invite non-Muslims into the mosque?
Yeah, that's the key principle, and we're using the idea of dawah, which is in Islam essentially means invitation. We're using that as a metaphor for the project. We think it's particularly appropriate now, given the current political climate.
Today we're going to look at a new topic, and that's the issue of the funding of this mosque. It's going to be massive when it's complete. Newspapers talk about it costing £100 million or more. I've even seen figures of 300 million. Well, we don't know how much. But the interesting thing is every single Muslim that I have spoken to about this mosque has no doubt whatsoever that it's going to be funded by the Saudis, by Saudi Arabia. They don't question it. They just automatically, it's only the Saudis, or at least the Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia, that have the sort of money required to build this mosque. But already you can see there's close associations between Saudi Islam, which is known as a Wahhabist form of Islam, and Tablighi Jamaat, which is a Deobandi form of Islam. Now, as I told you, recently we had an open debate about this mosque at Hyde Park. And I sit here now, putting forward my arguments against this mosque on YouTube. And just sit here freely to do so in Britain, in the United Kingdom, here in the year 2007. That is what we can do. And the reason we can do that is because this country has a strong Christian heritage. You see, the gospel of the freedom of Jesus Christ leads straight on to social and political freedoms. And this country has its political freedoms because it has its Christian heritage.